It is 5 p.m. here in Accra, Ghana. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Starr today here on Starr 103.5 FM. And coming up this evening, National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations unhappy with the disturbing trend of alleged negligence in some schools as they join calls for a review of the exit regime in senior high schools.
The national PTA must also to really address some of these issues because, as I said, it has gone on for some time now and we keep on losing our wards and it's not the best, it's not in our best interest. So we as a council, we are not happy about the occurrences of some of these issues.
Meanwhile, Child Rights International to sue Ghana National College for negligence and death of a third-year science student upon his admission at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital due to delayed medical attention.
For us, the alternative available to us is to go to court and let the court determine the way forward.
Also in the bulletin this evening, police files injunction to stop organizers of Gen Z demo from going ahead with planned protests on the streets of Accra from July 31 to August 6. We'll tell you more on that. And later, we'll take you to the northern regional capital, Tamale, where the NDC is set to launch its national campaign tomorrow. National Food Suppliers Association serves notice to picket at the Ministry of Education over government's failure to clear outstanding arrears owed them. And Action Aid Ghana and partners urge government to use Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 to incentivize local indigenous seed production. We've got details for you shortly. Stay with us.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Rage and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM.
Grateful for your company this evening and welcome aboard Ghana's most comprehensive news analysis program, Star, today here on Star 103.5 FM. We are streaming live on Facebook at Star 103.5 FM. So quickly join us there with your thoughts, your comments, your views and contributions. Alternatively, you can send all of those to our WhatsApp number 0552 880 216. 0552 880 216. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. The details now. The National College, or Council rather, of Parents-Teacher Associations say they are unhappy with a disturbing trend of alleged negligence in some schools as they join calls for a review of the exit regimes in senior high schools. It comes after alleged negligence of school authorities led to the death of 4 students this year. The most recent is the death of Theophilus Ansah, a third-year science student of the Ghana National College in Cape Coast. Now, he passed away shortly upon his admission to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital on July 6 due to delayed medical attention. Now, these 4 known deaths have all been attributed to negligence of school authorities. Here's a news desk report.
Recent events of deaths in senior high boarding schools have ignited a fierce debate on the disturbing trend of alleged negligence in some schools. This comes after alleged negligence of school authorities led to the death of 4 students just this year. The phenomenon has raised serious concerns about the responsibilities of school authorities to ensure the well-being of students, prompting urgent calls for better accountability and improved healthcare in schools. On 5th February 2024, a first-year student at Ebri Girls Senior High School in the Eastern Region lost her life after allegedly being denied medical attention by the school nurse. Just a week later, parents of Kesta Vade, a 19-year-old student at Akimswedro Senior High School, accused the school authorities of refusing to grant their son permission to seek medical help when he got ill, which ultimately led to his death. Kesta was reportedly told he did not appear ill enough to warrant an exeat. On 20th February, a 17-year-old student at Kalpohin Senior High School in the Eastern Region died after the senior housemaster allegedly failed to provide timely medical assistance. In the latest incident, Theophilus Ansah, a final year science student at Ghana National College in Cape Coast, passed away following a brief illness. His family has alleged that negligence by school authorities contributed to his untimely death. These recent tragic events in senior high boarding schools have once again sparked conversations about the responsibilities of school authorities in safeguarding students' well-being.
So those are the 4 instances that we are aware of. But non-governmental human rights organization Child Rights International has revealed it will sue the Ghana National College for negligence that led to the death of Theophilus Ansah. Executive Director of Child Rights International, Brighter Pia, says his outfit, after weighing the issues, is left with no other option than to seek legal redress. Listen to him.
The first thing that we are looking at has to do with the consistency that must be demonstrated in all schools to follow a certain procedure in issuing exeat. Because our current system, exeat is being issued on a discretionary basis, and it's unfortunate that our school system should use individual discretion to determine who should give exeat to and under what conditions should that exeat be given. Then again, the rules must also be established clearly to know the circumstances under which we would give exeat, looking at the position of the law when it comes to the duty of care that teachers owe or the managers of the school owe children or students who participate in that environment. We've had a series of discussion with the family. We've stated their position, and also at the background, I've done our own investigation as to the position of the school. But as it is now, we feel that the alternative for us is to go to court for the court to give a proper interpretation as what led to the death of Theophilus. And again, the family is so much interested in ensuring that we will look at it from an angle where other students will not suffer as a result of negligence on the part of the school. So for us, the alternative available to us is to go to court and let the court determine the way forward.
So you heard Brighter Pia, he's the Executive Director for Child Rights International. But let's get on the phone lines now and have a conversation with the Deputy Public Relations Officer for the National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations, Irene Sam. She's joined us on the phone lines now. Irene, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Grateful.
I hope you're doing well.
Yes, please, I am.
So quite worrying situations. I mean, one too many. We've heard about 4 just this year and all of that. As parent-teacher associations, exactly how does all of this come to you?
Well, thank you so much. And let me say a good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers as well. First of all, let me say that we as a council, we commiserate with the bereaved family, and then we pray for comfort onto their hearts and their souls. Yes, it is so disheartening. It is so sad. It is so very bad for us to hear such news coming from children that we have sent to school, and then we hold the school accountable or responsible for their upkeep, because we parents don't teach our wards, but we send them to school and for them to be taken care of by the school management and then the teachers as well. And let us also know that the teachers are part of our association. That's how come our name is National Council of Parent Teacher Association. And over the years, as a council, we have collaborated very well with management as well as the teachers in the school. And we know that the teachers in the school are also parents. They are the parents that we have in the schools, watching over our wards in our absence. And I must say that the issue is quite very sad, and we are not so happy about the incidence of losing a child in school. When, it is no parent's desire to bury his or her child. It is a big no. So when these issues come up like this, it is so disheartening, and we are not happy about it. But let's take a look at the issues or the prevailing issues at stake here. Now, we know that healthcare, accessing healthcare in the schools, became so exposed during our COVID era, when COVID set in, and then we had a lot of issues coming up in the various schools when they have to report to school to complete their semester and then go ahead with their examination. And then that was when we realized that our schools are not able to meet the health needs of our wards. So quickly, the GES and then the Ministry of Education put in place a mechanism to make sure that we have some school infirmaries in the schools so that they can at least give some first aid, and then with a health professional attending to the health needs of our wards. But soon after COVID, some of these health facilities or health posts in the schools are not functioning. So when a child is sick, which the health post or the school clinic or the school infirmary is the first point of call that the child can even go for first aid. And then when the issue escalates, then it's being sent to the nearest hospital. So this has been the practice over the while now. And we can also say that the teachers who are parents in the school will just look on and see a child who is not feeling well and not being attended to. Now, let's also consider the situation in our various senior high schools. How, the people, that the students are so many that, a handful of them, and then it's being left in the hands of school staff to handle. So if the child doesn't complain of any health, situation or any health hazard to the teacher cannot help the child. So we are saying that this issue is so sad and there should be a way out. We should look at it here because there's a life at stake. Losing the life of an individual is so precious and we don't want it to go on. So it is time that GES partner with the PTA so that we see how best we can look at this issue.
And Irene, as it stands now, what role does the PTA play in all of this?
Fine. Now, we know that the PTAs are there as the mediators between the school and then the parents. So when issues of this sort come up, they also fall on the PTA chair in the various schools to also help, communicate the issues to parents, and then the parents will also come aboard. Now, what we have realized is that looking at the space between the complaining, maybe if a child complains of maybe something of a health issue, and then the kind of time that is being available for the child to access health care, that space of time before they can even call on the school, the parent to come in. And that is where the PTAs are also there. So they call the parent, they call the PTA chair, that they can also follow up on the parent and see when they can come up when the child is being sent to the nearest hospital. Now, we are saying that in issues of health care, and we know our teachers are not health professionals. So when a child complains, the first thing you do is make sure the child access health care before the parent's attention is being drawn. And that is where the PTAs also come in. So we're so sad that in the time past, GES wanted to try to attempt taking teachers out of the association because they are part of us. We have worked with them, we have collaborated well with them, and then they see that we are one. So if anything happens to our children, they see that it's their children as well. They have a part to play in the association. So they are able to work out and then help out alleviate the situation. So the PTAs play a very vital role in this kind of issues when they crop up in the various schools.
So clearly, what we need going forward is the collaboration, and that would help things look a bit better than it currently is.
Exactly. We need to collaborate. We've tested the system. And then let's see the state of our health posts in our various schools, how we can work it out to become functional so our children can really access health care when the need arises.
Irene, I'm grateful for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Great. So that's Irene Sam. She is the Deputy PRO for the National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations. And it's quite clear that what they are looking at is effective collaboration between the school authorities and then the PTA, just so that we can have a situation where we are ensuring that our wards in schools are really taken care of. Now, the Institute for Education Studies is disagreeing with calls for a review of the exeat regime because some have blamed what is happening currently on the exeat regime that is problematic as it stands now, for which reason some schools deny some students exeat to go out of school for medical treatment and others. Because now the institute believes that the review of the exit policy will not address the issues of negligence in senior high schools. We'll be getting to the phone lines to speak to the executive director for the Institute for Educational Studies, IFES, Dr. Peter Pate Anti. He'll be joining me on the phone line shortly so that we can have that conversation. But in the meantime, you can also let me know what your thoughts are. 0552-880216. We're also live on Facebook. I already see Morris and Lillian sending me messages on Facebook. We'll come to your messages shortly. You can also join us on Facebook at Starr 103.5 FM and let me know exactly what is on your mind. We are talking about negligence. We are talking about unnecessary deaths of students at the various senior high schools. Some have blamed it on the exit policy in schools because some students are told by some administration officers that did not look sick enough, for which reason they would deserve an exit to get medical attention outside of the school. But the question is, what is the quality of health provision for the students in the schools? When you go to the school's infirmary, is the infirmary able to at least provide proper first aid? And that's the conversation we are looking at tonight. We'll be getting some answers from the Institute for Educational Studies, IFES. Dr. Peter Pate Anti will be joining me shortly on the phone line so that we can have this conversation on this particular worrying trend. Because what we do know is that Child Rights International says it would have to sue Ghana National College for the death of the young man, Theophilus Ansah, a third-year science student, as a result of what they believe is negligence on the part of the school authorities. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Stay with me. We'll be back shortly.
Starr today. First, fast, and credible.
Starr 103.5 FM.
Now, non-governmental organization ActionAid Ghana and partners are entreating government to, as a matter of urgency, prioritize an effective, sustainable agricultural system by improving planting for food and jobs phase 2 to incentivize local indigenous seed production through increased investment in agroecology in Ghana. Now, it comes on the back of approval of some genetically modified foods and seeds which ActionAid Ghana believes has the potency of running indigenous seeds to extinction. Hence, the call for the government to use the planting for food and jobs phase 2 to serve as a motivation to local indigenous seed production through investment in agroecology. We'll be getting to the phone line shortly to get to speak to Country Director for ActionAid Ghana, John Nko, on this particular development, because they have been making the calls for agroecology as a sure way to ensure that we have a proper agricultural system here in the country. John Nko will be joining me to have a conversation on this latest call that government should use the planting for food and jobs phase 2, which is a flagship policy of this administration. Phase 1, we saw what happened with phase 1, but they are saying that the renewed phase, which is phase 2, should also be used to focus on indigenous seeds and their improvement, just so that we can have proper agroecology in the country. John Nko has joined me on the phone lines now. Mr. Nko, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Hello?
Hello, John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but the line is humming.
Oh, okay. Let's try one more time. Is it better now?
It's getting better.
Okay. Well, I'm sure it's a problem of the network, but then I'm hoping that it gets better. But looking at this call you're making now, per deliberations with your stakeholders, the women in farming, looking at the other agencies that also look at the quality of farming that we do in the country, where are we in terms of our indigenous seeds and how we are using them in farming?
All right. So thank you very much. If you can hear me clearly, I believe you are asking about the current situation of our use or farmer use of indigenous seeds.
Right.
And so, given the current context, we have been able to work with smallholder farmers, particularly in 11 out of the 16 regions. And our work demonstrates quite clearly that with the influx of high-yielding hybrid seeds into the country, the situation of our indigenous seed is challenged because of the fact that the hybrid seeds have high yields. And to that extent, farmers are attracted towards, the utilization of the improved seed. And that is helping or creating a situation whereby there is an increasing abandonment of the indigenous seed, and that does not portend well for Ghana's food security, because over the years, God in his own wisdom have provided some categories of seed that are suited for our climatic conditions. And for the systematic departure away from the seed that God has ordained for our land here, it will have a far-reaching impact for us in the future, particularly against current global shocks. The issue of the Ukraine-Russia war has taught us many lessons of the fact that countries have to find very good ways to become sustainable in their own food security because of the shortages around fertilizer. And so it is a warning to us in Ghana, and for that matter, Africa, to see how we can conserve our indigenous seed.
And the argument, I'm sure, from the other side will be the fact that, well, these modified seeds, they are high yielding. And so if they are high yielding, why should the farmers opt for indigenous ones?
Yeah, thank you very much. So if they are high yielding, the problem is that there is a potential threat to security of our food system. Secondly, there is also lack of self-dependency, because if you continue to import seed from foreign countries, it will create a dependency syndrome where year on year you have to wait for somebody else in another country to produce your seed and sell to you at higher prices. And mind you, the hybrid seeds also take a lot of fertilizer, and that increases farm gate prices because of the fact that they incur high input prices. And that in itself has the tendency of making quite a number of good farmers to gravitate away from the farming system to look for other livelihood opportunities. And so there's a threat both in the economic setting, there's a threat in terms of our dependency syndrome, and there's a threat in terms of how government of Ghana, and for that matter, the people of Ghana, will become food self-sufficient.
And so how serious is the problem as we stand now? Because does it look like we have really apprised ourselves to the reality of the extinction of our local seeds or our indigenous seeds as a people?
So that is a very good question. If you look at the context now, it relates to our recommendation. Your question relates to our recommendation, where the cross-section of stakeholders, the multi-stakeholder arrangement that met in the Bono region, including universities, including research institutions, including smallholder.
Well, we apologize for that. We'll raise John on the phone lines again and get to draw the curtains on this particular conversation. But that's the call that Action Aid Ghana is making, basically, that we need to find a way to ensure that we better the lots of our indigenous seeds, because if we keep going with the modified ones, what is going to happen is that we are missing out on our indigenous seeds, the seeds that the Lord himself blessed us with as a country. For which reason, they are asking government to use the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 to incentivize local farmers. And that's where I would also draw the conversation when we do get him back on the phone lines. John has joined us. John, sorry, we lost you there briefly, but you were talking about the seriousness of the problem and how an extinction basically would mean for us as a people.
Hello,
John, can you hear me?
It's getting better.
Great. So I'm saying that we lost you there, but you were talking about the seriousness of the challenge we have currently on our hands, and then the extinction of the seeds. Why should we be concerned?
Yeah, we should be concerned because of our own food sovereignty. We should be able to determine what we want to eat. That's one. We should be eating food that would inure to our own nutritional quality. It is also our cultural heritage. If you look at the Asian tigers like China, India, South Korea, what they have done is to ensure that innovative mechanisms that are coming into the country, in terms of even the agriculture sector, is customized and placed within the context of their cultural heritage and their identity. And so if we lose our cultural heritage in terms of food security, our cultural heritage in terms of the food that we are eating that is suited to our environment, the danger is that we are going to lose our own food production processes, and at the end of the day, it is going to affect our mode of production and affect consequently our food security, such that if there's any threat externally, it is going to have a big bang or a large effect in terms of Ghana's food security. And that is why we are urging government to rise up and call stakeholders to see how to address this big problem.
And in light of that, what do we need to do currently? I mean, looking at your release, among the things that you're talking about is the fact that we should use government's Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 as a means to rather incentivize these local production of our indigenous seeds. Tell me more about that.
Fantastic. And you know, government, by dint of good governance, uses the policies and programs to be able to direct and shape, you know, the context of development in the country. And consequently, under the second phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs, it is imperative that government take action in terms of being deliberate in mainstreaming the conservation of indigenous seed production, indigenous food production, the preservation, the storage, and the utilization. It is in that approach that we are consequently calling on the Ministry of Agriculture and the research institutions to directly integrate programs and interventions to train farmers, especially women farmers, to identify, multiply, preserve, and salvage local seeds and other plant varieties and cultivars that are going extinct to ensure food sustainability. At the level of civil society organizations and the media like you and I, we have been using the mechanism of our climate justice seminars, our agroecology seminars, to point to the fact that the utilization or the use of indigenous seed is one of the principles in the promotion of agroecology, which contributes to food security and the maintenance of household resilience and livelihoods. Therefore, it creates employment for our people, and we need to be seen what? Helping communities through female extension volunteers to propagate the message. 2, working with the media, like we are doing currently, to expand the confines of the importance of safeguarding our own indigenous seed that will continue to promote our own cultural heritage, our food sovereignty, and also ensuring that the research institutions are expanding research even in our own indigenous seed in a way that we can conserve them and make them more adaptable to our society, adaptable to climate change, and adaptable to our own household nutritional requirements. And finally, we need to be working with communities to develop their own community adaptation plans. So, for example, if you go to northern Ghana now, particularly in the Upper East, sorghum production is under threat because of the delay of the rains. And that is creating its own challenges for the people. So, many of the farmers are resorting to the production of maize and the utilization of hybrid seeds, which we argue that in the long term, it will not enhance our own security, food security requirements. And therefore, government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, need to rise up, work with research institutions, work with the media, work with civil society organizations and farmers to conserve, preserve our own indigenous seed.
And John, finally, in light of this, how do we situate it with the issue of GMOs? Because as it stands now, we know that some of the genetically modified seeds have already been approved. And like you mentioned, hybrid seeds, we are seeing the farmers also get used to that. So how do we now situate this and let them know that this is reason why we should stick to our indigenous seeds?
Fantastic point. And the answer lies within how we are able to enhance our behavioral change communication. How are we simplifying the reason why indigenous seed is still important for us? Like we are talking of cultural heritage, we are talking about how our environment is adaptable to the indigenous seed, and the more and more farmers themselves are complaining of the fact that the improved seed incurs higher production costs. That in itself is a big burden on our own local farmers, particularly smallholder women farmers, who contribute significantly to our own food security. In addition to that, government has to be deliberate. And the deliberate means that government has to align, agroecology and the production of, if you like, compost through enhanced research and development so that our farmers can have safe soil for the propagation of indigenous seed and also for the propagation of food that is adaptable to our environment. I think if we can target our own behavioral change, awareness raising, educating communities, reminding us of the need of our own cultural food security and heritage, it would many people would change their behavior and revert to indigenous seed production and use and preservation and storage of food and enhance our own household security and food requirements.
John, I'm grateful for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. It's always a great pleasure to speak on your medium and most importantly, your cherished listeners and viewers.
Very well.
I'm very grateful for this invitation. And we will continue to discuss this. We'll hold seminars around this. We'll work with the media. We'll work with the government. And we'll work with civil society organizations.
Definitely.
Thank
John,
you very much.
You're welcome. That's John Nkor here as the country director for Action Aid Ghana. And they have been championing agroecology, effective use of our climate. Let's manage things so that we do not destroy our climate, and also now championing the use of indigenous seeds as against genetically modified ones on the markets. This is Starr today on Starr 103.5 FM. We are right back after this. Stay with me.
Starr today, burst, fast, and credible.
Now, the National Food Suppliers Association has served notice of its intention to picket the premises of the Ministry of Education over unpaid arrears. The food suppliers say the government has failed to pay them about 7 months' arrears. Now, according to them, the decision to protest has become necessary as a result of what it describes as the government's deliberate attempt to frustrate the operational activities of the National Food Buffer Stock Company to the disadvantage of the suppliers. Unfortunately, I've been joined in studio by Kweku Amedume. He is spokesperson for the group. Kweku, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I hope everything is cool.
No, everything is not cool.
Everything is not cool.
Yes, but
the last time I saw you and the group of people that you represent, you were at the Food Buffer Stock Company. You were very, very displeased over similar issues. How can we still find ourselves here?
Yes, I'd like to use this opportunity to say good evening to yourself and good evening to your listeners out there. It's rather unfortunate that we would have to always come to the radio or TV to talk about our business, private businesses. Unfortunately so, because we are dealing with public institutions. The issues, if we bring them up as always it is the case, it has to do with money. It has to do with failure on the part of leadership to honor promises that they have undertaken under our agreement. Let me remind or refresh our activity. Let me refresh you with our activity as we go along. The contract we have with government is we go to the farmlands and procure foodstuffs such as beans, maize, and the rest, rice. We bag it to the specifications and then the weight and deliver to their designations as prescribed in the contract.
Right.
And then we are expected to be paid in a matter of 90 days, that's 3 months. There are instances where our money gets delayed. Some it takes 5 months, some takes 1 year, and almost all the time we'll have to be shouting before our money comes. But what is really agitating members has to do with certain deductions. First of all, has to do with delays.
Okay.
We have not received our 2024 arrears. As we speak, there's an attempt to pay 30% to suppliers, in that payment, there has been some dubious deductions.
Okay, so let me just get it right in terms of the context. So in the year 2024, you say mostly you're paid 3 months after you supply.
Yeah.
How
No,
many
that's what the contract says.
That's what the contract says.
Yes.
So how many times have you supplied in this year?
You supply us and when you get your money.
Okay.
There are some who get their monies regular. There are the chosen ones who, as we speak, government is not owing them.
So there are some suppliers
Yes.
that government has fully paid, and
Fully
then there are
paid. The
others
suppliers that the managers of the policy are interested in. They have interest in some of the suppliers.
Oh.
They are treated
differently.
nicely. They are given money regularly, and in some cases they advance money to them to go and procure the food stuff. But you see, we cannot question some of the discretions they exercise. What we are questioning is our due. That's what we're questioning.
Exactly.
As to how you conduct activities in your office, we don't know what regulations that is regulating you. So that is not our interest. Our interest is when monies are due, give us what we are due. Then it will be fair to all fair-minded persons.
Right.
Government 2024 has released 30% to suppliers. Out of this 30%, we know that government takes 3% as withholding tax. So they deduct 3%. After that, we owe no deductions anymore.
Okay.
But we have a situation in our hand where buffer stock, after deducting the 3%, which is withholding tax, is now deducting, in some instances, 3% again, and in other instances, it takes 4%. That is the case of buffer stock. Another case of buffer stock is that suppliers have done supplies. 2022, long ago. Let me give us two examples of millet, and groundnut, and that of milk.
Okay.
They were to deliver a carton of milk at the price of 107. They got paid at 57. When buffer stock actually went for the money and they were paid the full amount to come and deliver to suppliers, they only gave suppliers 57 cedis.
Out of the 107 cedis
Out
that
of the 107
was specified in the contract.
Yes, and kept the balance.
For what reason?
There's no reason to. There's no reason. Granite was at contract price was at 1,600 cedis. They gave suppliers 900 cedis. The balance is still
of 700 cedis. You still don't know
for 6 years now. We've asked and asked and asked.
Wow.
That money has not been paid. Our 2024, you deducting 3% that we understand. This is agribusiness.
Yeah.
Under normal circumstances, every Ghanaian knows government is always out there telling people that agribusiness are not to be taxed.
Yeah.
We are just going for foodstuffs from a DRA to secondary schools in support of government free SHS policy. But we are taxed for 3%. That's okay. Why do you subject our money to another taxation, deductions?
And what explanation has been given to you
We
for the
tried.
extra deduction?
There has never been any. You are a media person. When
Right.
I leave your studio, inquire from them. Ask them these things. These two things I'm asking you. That there has been an underpayment, half payment to suppliers for 6 years, getting to 7 years. That the money we have kept our faith by just keeping quiet, listening to them, listening to the excuses they've been giving us. Up to now, we've not gotten paid. Now they are deducting us 3%. They should explain to you why suppliers' money are being deducted of 3% on each supplier's money. Come to commodity exchange. Commodity exchange also undertake supply just like Buffer does. Buffer does 50% of the supplies, while commodity exchange also does 50% of the supply in support of free SHS policy.
Right.
They are all under the supervision of the Ministry of Education. They are the contracting party. They are the principal party in this case. And so here is the case. We have a situation where commodity exchange is retaining 20% of suppliers' money for the 2024 arrears. Let me give you a specific example of my case.
Okay.
I did 4,000 bags of maize. Some to Kumasi, Ashanti region. I brought to Greater Accra region, then to Volta region. Out of that transaction alone, government is taking a tax component almost about 60,000 cedis. That's the tax component. And then they are retaining my 300,000 Ghana cedis for no justifiable reason. They have not communicated to me why that money, not only me, that they have done so across all the suppliers who have done supplies, except the ones that
you say they have
interest in. See, I don't mind if you have any reason. We are in business together. If you have any reason to subject your indebtedness to me to some deductions, you should explain to me.
Right.
It's a courtesy attitude. You see, these people who are managing the free SHS policy must appreciate that they are in a public office and they owe a public responsibility, and that anything that they seek to do in their office in that capacity as public officials must be and only be for public good.
Right.
If they fail to appreciate these basic rules, then they don't have any business occupying those offices. Madam Tuji is the Chief Executive Officer of a commodity exchange. Would you believe that ever since we started doing business with commodity exchange and these deductions are going on, we have tried on several occasions to just have a meeting with her to find out and to give us reasons why some of these things
and that has not materialized.
That has never been materialized. They charge us 5,000 cedis Ghana if you want to just go and buy foodstuffs and go and deliver to government. You have to pay 5,000 cedis before you are accepted as someone who can go and buy foodstuff and go and deliver.
Wow.
Buffer stock takes only 500 cedis. But commodity exchange takes
5,000?
Yes, 5,000.
Wow.
That's what they charge suppliers before you go. And then when I do all this, remember, when I'm given a contract to supply foodstuffs, it's not as if government gives me money.
So you pre-finance it?
You pre-finance it, and you do all that. Sometimes go to secure loan and put your property as collateral. Sometimes you have maybe some property there that you can use to turn around and get cash.
Hoping that once you do that, after 3 months, you get paid.
You get paid.
And that has not happened.
And sometimes you go to borrow or you go to buy the things on credit from the farmers.
Right.
Especially in the harvest seasons. So you go and tell the farmer, give me, in a matter of 3 months, government will pay me.
Then I can also pay you back.
So you can imagine if government keeps your money for more than 3 months, and sometimes 6 months, 8 months, as in the case of what we are talking about.
Plus the deductions,
yes.
actually.
And then as you're bringing it, you're not bringing the total amount. In some cases, you are bringing 30%. Then out of the 30%, you are subjecting it to 3% tax withholding, and then you're subjecting another 4% of unexplainable percentage of your own,
right? Without
communicating to the owners of the money.
So as it stands now, how does all of this make your members feel?
Everybody is so angry. I'll play some of the voices. You know, these are aged women. These are women over 60, and they've been doing this business before the introduction of the free SHS. So it's not the case that the free SHS came before they got to know how to procure. And that's why they are able to deal in big figures like the millions, and they have done that and built credibility for themselves. So if you frustrate them in this manner, imagine taking 300,000 cedis from the supplier's money for no justifiable reason. Bank interest plays a role when you go to bank to secure loan. And so imagine you taking the money from the bank. How much will be left after taking almost 400,000 cedis from your money? Imagine you buying your foodstuffs on credit, and then government takes 300,000, takes 3%, like capriciously deducting and taking your money without giving any justification for it.
Right.
How can you survive in the business? At the time we did the supply, we were supposed to be paid 2024 price because we did the supply in 2023, in 2024. But you know, we were told that at the time, public procurement authority has not given pricing for the deliveries. So we should go and supply.
Right.
When
the PPA
issues, then they can review the prices for us, because at the time the student needed the food, and then PPA was not ready, but we needed to quickly help and send the
Salvage the
food to
situation
the
there.
We helped. We helped because we believe in the policy. When PPA released, as I'm speaking to you now, PPA has released 4 prices so far. We are being told that we will only be paid the 2023 price. No problem.
Even though PPA has released the price for 2024.
Yes.
In the year which you supply.
Yes. We are being told that we cannot be given that amount. So we are being paid, for instance, beans as at the time was 100,000, 100,000, 100 cedis. That was the price of beans. A bag of beans at 100 kg was 1,100 cedis. As I speak with you, today, a bag of beans is more than 2,000 Ghana cedis. So it means, therefore, that even if government decides to give us our money in full, we won't be able to do the 4,000 bags that I did at the time. It's a total devaluation, reduction of our working capital. And they think they're frustrating us. They are frustrating the policy for which make them the public servant. They are frustrating the policy that keeps them in that office, that air condition that they feel so comfortable about. It is the policy. It's the taxpayers' money that they deduct. That, including myself, including yourself, and including the people listening to us, it is the taxpayers' money that is making them occupy in that position. So they should know that they must exercise responsibility for the public good, not for their selfish interest.
So what's the way forward now for
the way forward? We're doing a press conference. We want to itemize some of the issues that we have on paper. We have written some letters to them. We are expecting reasonable replies within a reasonable time. If not, before Monday, we will be doing a press statement and we would put on paper the salient points of our demands. Then give it to the media. We give them ultimatum. If by the end of that ultimatum we don't get paid, we would go to demand for our money. We don't want to call it picketing, because at times when they say we are going to picket, the police will frustrate you. And so it's not a special event.
You are going to take your money.
Yes, we are going to collect our money. If you even go to the police, it means you're not even sure of what you're doing.
So that's not a picketing.
No, it's not picketing.
This is just you going to the one
demand
you've done
our
work
money,
for to get your money
demand
paid.
for our money. And when we go, we will not live there
until the money is
because
paid.
we no longer have homes. As some of us don't longer have homes because some have used their house as collateral and they are being swallowed up by debt. Some are being threatened in their homes. And we can no longer stand the heat at home. When they come to occupy those offices and they are asked to serve for the public good, and you go to talk to them, it's as if you are asking them to give you a job. I'm telling you something. They have no respect for you because by the mere fact that they are in a nice air condition, in a nice suit, they look at you as a low-level person because they see the job you are doing now.
Right.
They sell beans, they call ejira. This is what I have chosen to do.
Okay.
You are so favored because you are closer to the powers that be, and you have been given opportunity to serve in a particular office that I also found an interest as a person. I go to solicit and use the little credibility I have to secure loans.
So you need a response. You need responses, reasonable responses.
Not only that, the money. I need the money more than the response. The money must come first.
But you mentioned that if you've given them some time, if you don't get responses, then you will now go and demand your money.
That's what I said.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Okay. Well, Kodjo, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can tell from your delivery exactly how frustrating this must be for you and your members. But definitely, we'll keep an eye and see how things pan out. I'm grateful that you came.
Thank you, bro.
All right. That's Kodjo Amedume. He's spokesperson for the National Food Suppliers Association, speaking to us clearly on the challenges that they are facing and what they intend doing to take their money from the government. This is Starr today here on Starr 103.5 FM. And if you're listening to us in other parts of the country, you're definitely doing so on our affiliates.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Rage and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM.
All right, so after free SHS, some of the students graduate and then enter colleges of education. So approximately 80% of students at the SDA College of Education in Koforidua Asokore have left campus due to the protracted strike by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG. Now, final year students are stranded and unable to complete their dissertations as their lecturers supervising them have withdrawn all services. The industrial action, which began on June 14, is in response to the government's refusal to implement CTAG's arbitral award and conditions of service. Now, the situation deteriorated further when the government decided to freeze the July salaries of CTAG members, prompting a complete withdrawal of their services. As a result, SDA College of Education has seen a mass exodus of students. A visit to the campus revealed that only a few students, mostly first-year students, remain. Meanwhile, some female students have lamented the negative impact of the strike and are calling on the government to resolve the impasse swiftly.
The strike came in, and then we weren't having the materials to learn. So in this case, we are just staying on campus and then no learning. Just like that. So I think they are saying that we are going to write exams. So in this case, we are going to lack.
Write exams when?
I think it was to be August 26th going. We'll be having an exam. So due to the strike, we don't know whether it's going to happen or not. But in this case, we don't have materials to learn. We are on campus, and then we are not getting any information from the teachers. We are just hoping. People are staying closer, so they've gone home. But we coming from far places, we cannot go back. So we are just hoping. Some of us, we take the books, the notes from our seniors, and then we learn. So we are just hoping for them to come back.
Me, for instance, I like my teachers to stand in front of me to teach, to get the thing before I can learn on my own. But now that I'm not getting the stats, and it's a new course, so I have to get the stats before I can also learn on my own to understand. But now that we have not even stepped one foot into the classroom, so it has affected me negatively. I've not even been able to open my book to learn because I don't know what the course is all about. So that's one cause, one effect. We don't have any positive effect on that. Others may have, but me, I don't have any positive. Others may have the positive that they can use this time to work and get money to pay their fees. But me, I've been able to pay my fees. So I have only the negative of me not getting the knowledge about the course I'm about to study.
So do you know other colleagues who have left and working?
Sure, a lot. Some of my friends, they are all working, although they have paid their fees. But we, the level 300, we are about to go for our out campus, so we need money for renting and other stuff. So they have gone home to learn, to work in order to get money, pay for their rent and other stuff.
So you had some female students at the SDA College of Education. Well, their president, Sechi Samson Jr., has also been talking about the impact of the strike on their activities.
You see, this strike came about a month and more. We were not expecting this. When we first experienced it, we thought that it would be a 1 week something. But unfortunately, it has extended to about a month and 2 weeks. And even today that we are having council meeting by CTEC, we don't know what will be the outcome of it. My students are stranded. I can say that about 80% of students are home now, which is a problem to us. All activities have ceased, SLC activities, college activities, and so many things are not going on. So we would say that the government should come to the negotiation table with CTAG and then sort everything out for us to report to campus once again.
Well, so it's not only the Eastern region that is feeling the brunt of the CTAG strike. Central and Western Regional CTAG chairperson Dr. Boson Senyafia has maintained their strike cannot be called off until concrete steps are reached with their employers. And we can now take a listen to him.
There's no negotiation going on. You see, the arbitral award actually brings an end to all negotiations. When you talk arbitration award, is an end to all negotiations between the aggrieved party and the employer. So that's why NLC comes in to issue, arbitral award. So the arbitral award is binding on the government to actually implement. So that's where we are now. There have been several engagements, but we want to have physical presence of our needs, demonstrated and then felt in our accounts. That's the ultimate thing that we can have. So currently, I think this Wednesday actually, we were invited, and with the minister we had some engagement, but concrete suggestions or proposals were made, and I think that all we are asking for is that at the end of the day our members benefit, and the actual interpretation of the arbitral award is actually what is implemented, and there will be no discrimination. And I think that was clear in the meeting, and a number of other issues were all resolved and were on the same page. But you see, there had to be a paperwork on whatever had been discussed. And as we speak now, there had been no evidence of that paperwork now. So, unilaterally, even the president of the association or the NEO or NEC do not have the mandate by our constitution to actually call off strike. So basically it lies, in the bosom of the council. So if there is any concrete evidence that we need to show to the council for consideration, it cannot be just oral. So it has to be some physical documentation, and then they will scrutinize it and see and vote upon it, on the basis of which we can even talk about calling off strike. So you can imagine that we have been, we have not been treated fairly over the years. So many other disappointments. Even the arbitral award itself, is in 19 months of arrears, and you see, we are not well motivated to do the work that we are doing, although we do it wholeheartedly. If you have followed the news lately, you realize that research was conducted, and it shows that graduates from the College of Education usually outperform other institutions when it comes to the licensure examination. That's a critical and physical evidence to the fact that college teachers are working. You see, so it is very important that our issues are addressed in earnest. And with this,
so you had the Central Regional and Western Regional Chairman for the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. So some students from the various colleges of education in the Central Region have also been lamenting on the impact of this particular strike on their academic work.
Students of Asin Fosu College of Education described the impacts of the strike on them after 3 months of agitation by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG. With none of the syllabus completed since resumption of school, the trainees have now resorted to using teaching and learning periods for general cleaning, sleeping or idling around. The students find this a waste of time as they remain stranded on campus, not knowing what to do, hence calling for the shutdown of the schools.
Since we came to school this semester, we haven't been able to do anything progressive in terms of academics. We may have the books we are supposed to use for the semester, all right, but some of the courses, unless a lecturer takes you through them, we will plead with the government to attend to their needs.
Strike we are higher bebre. Most of us yentumi nsuade on our own. Nsi yesre abane se ontua teachers nika na omombra na omometre ade na higher pa.
We've been on campus for about 2 months now, and we haven't even met a lecturer just for once, for him to be able to give us even the course outline for a particular course.
Strike in the no crana many money unko because I got teachers no around that cabana on we teaming I cover some way but so many around yakata na forces see be soon. Me say me look as I say you need to want to cram in here. But the teacher wa ha obe church room nti wo kwa first one na what you see nti ama your challenge.
The Quality Assurance Officer for Asin Fosu College of Education, Fifi Eninfo, told GH1 News they are not ready to resume work until their demands have been met.
That particular award that the National Labour Commission made was not being adhered to. So to then and then realize that no, we are being fooled. And we realized that you have to speak the language the government will understand. Hence, our strike. As we speak now, I can't say today or tomorrow because we only want the government to do what the National Labour Commission said.
So you had some students in the central region there sharing their plight with us.
Starr today, burst, fast, and credible.
So tomorrow, the 27th day of July 2024, what we do know currently is that the Northern Regional Capital, Tamale, will come alive with the launch of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC's national campaign launch. The party will use the opportunity to, among others, reiterate its campaign message of a 24-hour economy, among others. So let's touch base with our man on the ground, Noah Nash, on preparations ahead of tomorrow. Noah, how are you doing?
We thank God for everything.
Fantastic. So how is Tamale looking like ahead of tomorrow?
As you can see, you can hear from the background, there's a lot of noise all over the place. Tamale is a bit crowded. If you can see, a lot of the young men have been given some fuel to generate some euphoria. And so they are kind of hoisting of flags and stuff. So the entire town is painted with the NDC colors just to demonstrate the launch of the event tomorrow. And every section of the township is either crowded with some bit of traffic that makes motorability a bit difficult for many people. But I can say that the pressure is quite very high. If you go to the Jubilee Park where they are fixing the equipment and stuff, the testing of the sounds alone is generating a lot of people to get into the motion or the act of dancing every second. And that is how it is at the Jubilee Park. And as well, I can tell you for a fact that there are some traders who have come all the way from Accra and Kumasi who are selling the paraphernalia of NDC around. So that is also generating a bit of business for some few people. And I can tell you for a fact that everything is now set one way or the other for the action tomorrow.
So are there any notable persons within the NDC that have already made their way there? Have you picked information on who has come to town ahead of tomorrow's big day?
I cannot tell, but what I can remember is the fact that they've done a lot of work since yesterday to this morning. Sami Jevi has been on the various radio stations doing a bit of and putting the interest of the public
Hello, Noah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Fantastic. Your line was breaking. We could barely hear what you were saying. You say Sami Jevi has been on the various radio stations in Tamale?
Come again.
So you were saying that Sami Jevi is already in town. The National Communications Officer of the NDC is in town, and he's been touring some of the radio stations in Tamale. You were telling me about that.
Yes. I was telling you just a while ago that Sami Jevi has been on most of the radio stations trying to talk about the 24-hour economy, trying to generate the interest of the public to be part of this whole exercise tomorrow. And so the euphoria is quite very high. That is the reason why a lot of people feel that there's something going on. As at 48 hours ago, you can tell that there was nothing going on. But within the last 6 hours, posters all over the place have demonstrated that John Dramani Mahama is actually coming back into town. So that is what the party has been doing since morning, since yesterday, until now. The youth organizer has been calling various youth groups to come out with their numbers.
Great. So your line was also a bit tricky over there. But basically, let's look at the dynamics in the northern region in terms of the seats MPP has as against the NDC. And do we know? We'll be touching base with the NDC to get to understand exactly why. But from your work that you've also done in the region, what would you say the dynamics are looking like?
If you look at the dynamics, it's because the fact that they are launching here, a lot of people are coming all over from the country to join in this whole launch. So the number that will be expected here will be more than expected. Because if you want to count it based on the foot home of the NDC, the number that we are seeing now, we are likely to have triple of that tomorrow. Because the number of DCs whom I've seen in the past, who have actually arrived in this afternoon, tells me that there will be a lot of crowd tomorrow. So it's not about anything, but it's just about campaigning all over the place.
Well, Noah, thank you so much. We'll leave you to keep monitoring stuff for us. We know that tomorrow will be a very busy day, and we'll also be covering that live here on Star 103.5 FM. Make sure that you stay tuned in because we'll give you minutes by minute updates on exactly how it all pans out in Tamale tomorrow. I've seen a lot of people say Kaula tomorrow. Tamale, Kaula. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure that definitely Bensaki will be telling me exactly what that also means. But let me hear from you, your thoughts on our Facebook page. We're streaming live at Star 103.5 FM. Also on WhatsApp number 0552 880-216 0552 880-216. Let me look at some of the messages that you've sent in here. Lillian Akosua Bediako says, nothing is working under this MPP government. Morris Werengai Nyongesa says, he's also live with us. Thank you guys for staying on Facebook. We'll try and get to the phone lines now so that we can speak to Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Foyogbande. He's joined me on the phone lines now. Mustafa, I hope you're doing well, sir.
I'm doing well by the grace of God.
Fantastic. So tomorrow, I've seen a lot of people talk about the fact that Tamale is going to be painted in the colors of the NDC. Walk us through exactly how preparations are advanced ahead of tomorrow.
Yeah, basically, I think that so far so good. All is set to receive the leadership of the NDC, led by its leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to launch the big agenda of 2024. It is also means that we are prepared to rally around the people of Ghana to ensure that their long-awaiting expectation to see to it that a corrupt regime that has become an albatross on our necks is removed from the reins of power in 2024 December. Tomorrow, it will also be a declaration of unity in the party to call upon the rank and file to all join to ensure that we campaign to raise the hopes of Ghanaians very high. And so we are ready to transmit to the viewership of Ghanaians across the country and the world because we know that Ghanaians are expecting to look at what will happen tomorrow. So all preparations have been put in place in terms of media, in terms of social media, and all other avenues and channels and platforms to ensure that Ghanaians are able to follow tomorrow's program. We are in Tamale tomorrow as a united party, a party that is rallying around its flag bearer, its leadership to ensure for victory. We are not divided. We are together and focused as a body. And that is one of the inevitable characteristics that Ghanaians are looking out of a political party. You cannot hand over a country to a disintegrated, greedy political party that has divided itself as a result of fighting for the process of power. You cannot. You cannot trust a group of people that have become a syndicate of public fraud. They are lying to Ghanaians and taking away what belongs to Ghanaians. And so we are here as a united body seeking for power. I see the spirit of NDC in the Northern region in the 1992s. I see the spirit of the NDC in the Northern region in the 2008. It is back. It is rekindling. And all those who were disgruntled are going to be called upon to rise up and to be part of the processes that lead to the liberation of 2024.
And I've been quite curious. Why the choice of Tamale?
The choice of Tamale is because Tamale is one of the lifelines of the NDC in good faith. Not just because the people of Tamale love the NDC, because the NDC since 1992 have developed the Northern region than any other government. Because the NDC is Northern region and Northern region is the NDC. We know that we've had series of issues internally in the past in terms of the work that we are supposed to do to get our people back to vote for us, we couldn't do. So we got some level of apathy, which has brought our votes down. But we are here because we need to rekindle that dividend of political establishment in the North to ensure that our people are back to the table. Back to the table that makes us one people towards a victory for common Ghanaians. And so that is why we choose Northern Region. And Northern Region is a source of bravery and courage. That spirit is going to be by us to ensure that we are able to mount top standard vigilance that will ensure that these people do not reach the will of the people in the general election. And that is why we are here.
So as it stands now, we've been told that your National Communications Officer, Sami Jemfi, has been very, very busy in Tamale, also making sure that people are aware of what is happening tomorrow. But what other dignitaries are there as we speak? And then who are we to expect tomorrow or also to be a part of the launch?
Currently, all a section of the team that was put in place, the planning committee headed by Joshua Labi, Professor Joshua Labi, myself, the national organizer, we are all here. Tomorrow we are expecting our national chairman, Honorable Johnson Asedum Ketia. We are expecting my boss, the general secretary of the party, and we are expecting Her Excellency Vice President in waiting, Professor Jane Nana Opukwa Jimai, members of the Council of Elders, regional executives who will join the organic support base of the Northern Region tomorrow to rally around His Excellency John Dramani Mahama himself, who will make a big statement tomorrow.
Well, Mustafa, we are with you tomorrow, so we'll definitely let the world know exactly how all of that pans out. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you so much, and have a good evening too.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that's Mustafa Foyogbande. He is the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, telling us about plans ahead of tomorrow. And I'll let you know that we have a crack team of reporters on the grounds in Tamale, also to ensure that we bring you coverage from that particular launch. So stay with all EIB platforms, Star 103.5 FM, GH1 Television, and all our affiliates across the nation. Stay with us because we'll have first-hand information for you, the best coverage ever, right here on EIB Election Hub. Now let's do some other stories. And the Greater Accra Regional Command of the Ghana Police Service has filed an application at the High Court seeking an order of injunction to stop the organizers of Gen Z demonstration aimed at protesting economic hardship from going ahead with the protest. Now the organizers, Positive Transparency Accountability Movement Ghana, Arise Ghana, and Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, have notified the police of their intention to stage the demonstration. Now, the protest, according to the organizers, is to demonstrate against the severe economic hardship affecting mainly the youth in the country. Here are excerpts of the affidavit.
Receipt of the notification letter, the Accra Regional Police Command invited the respondents for a meeting on July 25, 2024 to discuss and address the security issues contemplated by the command. The command requested respondents to reconsider the number of days and time duration each day for the demonstration, since it will put a serious strain on the command's human, logistical, and operational capabilities, which could likely affect other routine operations and duties performed by the command, considering the fact that police population within the region is just about 6,000. The command is convinced that the proposed demonstration, if allowed in its current form, may compromise public defense, public order, public safety, the running of essential services, as well as the violation of the rights and freedoms of other persons. The command around this period is involved in a lot of operational activities within the region due to the celebration of the annual Homowo Festival, which is normally occasioned with security disturbances as a result of chieftaincy disputes in some of the local communities. In view of the impending general elections, there are also a lot of political activities within the various police divisions and districts which require visible police presence to ensure the safety of such political actors and the general public.
So you heard excerpts of the affidavits from the police service, but we have Mensah Thompson on. He's Executive Director for the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA. Mensah, thank you so much for your time this evening. Hello, Mensah, can you hear me?
The line is very terrible, please. Very terrible.
You know what? Let's call you back. Let's rework it. Producer, let's call Mensah back and get to understand. Make sure that we have a very clear connection to him so that we can have that conversation briefly for you as to reaction from them, because they notify the police of the Gen Z demonstration they want to embark on. The police says, well, to protect you, we don't have the manpower. We are in a very critical time of the year. Elections are just some few months away. There are a lot of political activities, and then we have had to even call some of our men from leave. Police officers who are on leave have been called. They have been recalled to come and augment the team. So we cannot have men for you to demonstrate from the 31st of July all the way to the 6th of August. It's practically impossible. So courts, please put an injunction on this one for us. We'll get some reactions from Mensah Thompson as and when we are able to establish a really smooth line to him so that at least we can hear him clearly while we have that conversation. But still, as we work to do that, the MPP in the Volta region has condemned what it calls an attack on the University of Health and Allied Sciences and its governing council following the university's decision to honor President Akufo-Addo with an honorary doctorate degree. The university's decision to the president has stirred some controversies with the opposition NDC and a concerned Volta youth group calling out the university for engaging in a partisan political move. There's more in the following report.
At a press conference held in Ho on Wednesday, regional chairman of the MPP, Makafi Kofi Wanya, described the controversies that have greeted the decision by the University of Health and Allied Sciences to honor President Akufo-Addo as shameful and vexatious. He noted that the move is on merit and that the Nana Akufo-Addo government since 2017 has added significant infrastructure to the development of the university, including a yet-to-be-commissioned $60 million project.
Started from scratch, was actually incubated in Kufuor's Nest 6 and Doctor's Flat and Mother and Child Facility at Trafalgar. And all they could do was to build an administrative block at the permanent site. You have today, it's a complete university with befitting facilities. A laboratory complex, 3 lecture halls for School of Medicine, faculty offices for School of Medicine, 1-story building for School of Pharmacy with offices, Sokode Hostel, 4 separate story building, Assembly Hostel, 4 separate story building, construction of internal road network, work ongoing.
He accused the NDC of attempting to stir tribal sentiments against the president and the university and challenged them to provide evidence of work done in the university during the Mahama-led administration.
We call on all well-meaning Ghanaians to join us condemn the interference and the threats by the NDC and their surrogates against the administration and the Council of Viewers as backward, ill-advised, and reprehensible. We also call on the security services to be on top of their brief and deal swiftly with all misplans and deviant behaviors. We wish to assure the university of our solidarity and to urge them to stand by their decision in exercise of their mandate, independence, and academic freedom.
The party is further calling on the security in the region to be on high alert ahead of the ceremony scheduled for Monday, July 29, 2024.
So, Volta regional correspondent Abdul Faisal Idrisu with our report there. Now, permanent representative of the African Union, Her Excellency Ambassador Hilda Suka Mafuje, has emphasized the importance of digitization in the movie industry in the African sub-region, adding it will aid in the accessibility, especially for international audiences. Now, according to her, adaptation of technology will enlighten filmmakers on how to use technological tools to improve the quality of their films. Now, speaking at the launch of the Afrowood Film Experience here in Accra, Her Excellency Ambassador Hilda Suka Mafuje urged content producers, especially young people, to leverage on digitization as the only means to compete in the digital space.
Everything is going to be technology. It is certainly going to be technology. Whatever we do in our own traditions and all that, it's just the adaptation. That's where we should start working on. How do we have even the raw person? Well, we have mothers, we have sisters who are maybe in the raw area, uncles their cell phones. That's where it begins. Everyone has to have a handset for us to take advantage of this technology that is coming. Digitalization, everything is going to be digital. Everything is going to be digital. And it's a matter of time. All we just have to make sure is in the rural areas, they have the gadgets. Here in the urban areas, we have to make sure we adapt to the new technology of all those things that, especially in the US, are already using those little gadgets to take technology to a certain level. I'm very impressed with the future, and especially for you, the young people. It's time to adapt. That's where we have to get it. And when you do the adaptation, ensure those people who are out there in the outlying areas are taught how to take this direction of the digitalization.
All right, so Administrative Coordinator Africa for the Black History Festival, Kayla Geraldo, also spoke to Star News.
So the rationale behind the Afro-Wood Film Festival, Afro-Wood Film Experience is to highlight, celebrate, and promote the producers and directors on the continent of Africa and the Caribbean. We are so used to what we know within our local communities, and so this is an opportunity to see what is beyond Ghana, what is beyond Tanzania, what is beyond South Africa, what is beyond Malawi and Kenya, basically exposing the rest of the world to the content of Africa, telling the African story, the African way by Africans, basically. Yeah, it's more of the feedback they get from the diverse audience that we have, because we would love to see more content that would even inspire the diasporans to watch, because we need silverbird worthy movies being shown in our various countries. That is what we would love to see. Taking the feedback, especially from the peers and the diverse audience, is what is really key at this point.
So you heard Kayla Geraldo. She is Administrative Coordinator Africa for the Black History Festival. Now, on the foreign front, the Mpumalanga police have arrested and detained 94 Libyan nationals who, following the discovery of an illegal military training base after they received intelligence about activities on a private farm. The member of Executive Committee for Community Safety, Security and Liaison, Jackie Massey, who was part of the raid, expressed a shock but applauded the police for acting swiftly.
We are very worried as a department and also as a province. It looks like there is a serious operation that is happening around here in this farm. Since April, it's been 4 months now. There are Libyan foreign nationals who are here in this country. Applied, they've got the visa to be here to study for security training. However, they violated their visa in terms of what they've applied for. They are here now conducting military base. We have information that they are going around communities, harassing communities. There are issues of serious cases that have been opened against people whom we are unable to identify up to so far. Cases of rape, harassing communities around these areas. They said they are white people. It means when you look around, you might think that we assume that they are the ones who are perpetrating this heinous crime around these communities. However, we are happy that we are able to come here. We have passed them. They are 94. The immigration is here to assist us. We are now processing. We are continuing to process them legally so that they will be sent back to their country of origin.
And in the United States of America, former U.S. President Barack Hussein Obama has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democratic presidential nominee, ending days of speculation over whether he would support her or not. Obama and ex-First Lady Michelle Obama said in a joint statement that they believe Harris has the vision, the character, and the strength that this critical moment demands. Obama was reportedly among more than 100 prominent Democrats Harris spoke to after U.S. President Joseph Biden announced last Sunday he was dropping out of the race. In a statement at the time, Obama praised Biden's exit but stopped short of endorsing Ms. Harris. And on that US note, we wrap up the bulletin right here on Star 103.5 FM. There's more news for you at starfm.com.gh. Grateful for your company this week. It was an exhilarating run, and look forward to same thing happening next week. Do join me next week also on Star 103.5 FM. It's the weekend here, and please, if you drink, don't drive. If you're driving, please don't drink, and let's limit the use of fizzy drinks just so that we can stay healthy, happy lives right here in our mother Ghana to build our nation great and strong. Many thanks to you for doing the listening. You've been wonderful, and for sending in messages on our WhatsApp number and also on Facebook. Many thanks also goes to Emmanuel Dunko for ensuring that we were streaming live smoothly on Facebook. Shout outs to the Komnadu News team, the production team, Benjamin Saki, Prince, ACN, and Adam Kodjo. Shout outs to you guys for making it happen this week. Let's do this same time next week. Have a wonderful weekend. At 6:30, we'll bring you Focus on Africa. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Enjoy.